What are the essentials? Welcome, my friends, back to another live video. This is Troy Stone King. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. The title of this video is What are the essentials? About 2 years ago, my wife and I, well, let me back up. Several years ago, my wife and I had gotten to the point where we decided it was probably time to downsize. The kids were adults, one had finished school, the other one was older and working and such. And so we said, you know what, the house we're in, it's bigger than we need. And we could probably make some financial moves that would be healthy for our overall financial picture if we downsized. And so we asked ourselves, what are the essentials? In other words, what is the minimum we have to have in order to live in a place? And we found a location to live in. It was a pretty small house. Just a couple of bedrooms, not big bedrooms, a single bath, a decent sized living room, a relatively small kitchen, no garage, no storage shed, nothing. And we said, you know what? This covers the essentials for now. Now, we lived in that place for almost a year. We added a storage shed to it because we needed a place to put the mower and such. But it covered what we needed for a while. And then we reevaluated. Life situation changed. Wanted to move back closer to our kids and our grandson. And so we said, okay, we're going to move again. Now, what are the essentials? Here's the point. Sometimes what you consider your essentials change. Maybe based on changes in your life circumstances, or maybe based on what you're doing at the time. You realize, you know what, maybe I need a little less, maybe I need a little more. So when we reevaluated for that next move, we said, what are the essentials? And we decided that we were okay with renting again. We were still okay with two bedrooms, but we really wanted a bath and a half. We just preferred having that extra bathroom. And so we found a place to rent, good price, 2 bedrooms, not huge bedrooms at all, a bath and a half. And that met the essential requirements. And at this point, we're kind of reevaluating again. Do we want to stay here when the lease is up? Do we want to maybe buy another house? Do we want to try and find some place a little larger to rent, or are we okay with where we are? You see, the point of this video, well, there are 2 points. One, ask yourself, what are the essentials? What do you have to have? You see, if I spend all of my time and all of my effort and all of my money chasing some ideal that I haven't really thought about, then I'm not going to be satisfied. I'm going to be wasting resources. But if I say to myself, what are the essentials? Write it down. What's the minimum that I would be okay with? Now you can build on that. But if you start with what are the essentials, you can get a lot of junk out of your life. And I'm telling you, the less junk that's attached to you, the more opportunity you have to be happier, because you don't have the burden of all that weighing you down. Here's the other point of the video. We all need to regularly reevaluate our circumstances. We need to look around us every once in a while and say, this is great, this is working fine. Or, no, this isn't really working at this point. You know, we lived in the same house for about 15 years. Now, I know some people have lived in the same place for a lot longer than that. But we had kind of reached the end of how long we wanted to be in that house several years before we sold it. But we finally got to the point where some circumstances changed and we said, okay, it's time. It's time to sell. And then we significantly downsized because we knew what our essentials were. And then we changed again because we reevaluated and said, these don't meet the essentials anymore. Every once in a while, you need to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, what are the essentials? What's the bare minimum that I can work with, that I can live in, for example? And 2, by the way, that works on income too. What's the essential income we have to survive? What's the essential income that we have to survive and do the few extra things we really want to do? If you can live on that, you can save a ton of money. But the other question is this: regularly reevaluate. Look at your life circumstances. Look at your income. Look at where you're living, whether it's the size of the place you're living, or the physical location you're living, or the part of the country you're living in, and say, you know what? Is this still the right place for me right now? You have the opportunity at any time to reevaluate and say, this isn't working for me. Or to look around and say, I'm really happy in this situation. But if you don't regularly reevaluate and you don't regularly ask yourself, what are the essentials? Then you may find yourself, without even realizing it, wondering, why am I always just a little bit overwhelmed? It might be because you've got too much in your life and you need to drop down to or closer to the essentials. So thank you, my friends, for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you got some value out of it. If you jumped on this video towards the end of it, about 30 seconds after I'm done with the video, it'll be live on Facebook. You can watch the entire thing. Feel free to catch my other videos. They are over on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Troy Stoneking. And don't forget, every once in a while, ask those two questions. What are the essentials? And is it time to reevaluate? Have a great rest of your day.